everybody. Welcome to another installment of What You're Reading, where librarians from around DeKalb County talk about the books that we are reading during quarantine. My name is Fran, and I am at the North Lake Library.
I am Angela from the County Line Ellenwood Library.
I'm Mia. I'm from the Decatur Library.
And I'm from the Harrison Crossing Library.
Okay, so today we're switching things up a little bit. We're going to talk about crossovers, adult books that can be that are good for teens to read. So crossing over that boundary between adults and teens. So the book that I chose is by William Landay, and it's called Defending Jacob, and that's it there. And great book. That book basically is about a teen. It's a mystery suspense. It's about a teen who's been accused of murdering a classmate, and his father is a prominent attorney in the town, and their whole life and the whole family's life is under a microscope. And so it's a really great book. It's now turned into a mini TV series, which is on, is it Apple TV or is it?
Whatever
I think it's Apple TV.
Services.
I think it's Apple TV. So if you have Apple TV, check out the series, but I would really recommend reading the book first. It is really awesome, great book, and I think it's a great teen read.
Awesome. And is that on Hoopla or Overdrive or both?
It is on Overdrive, and we have it in ebook and audiobook. There's several copies there available that they're on a waiting list, but the waiting list is pretty short. So if you get on now, you won't have to wait too long, but it is worth the wait.
Nice. People can choose if they want to watch that first or read that. I know that that's always like a controversial.
Read first.
Oh, I watch first. Like hard watch first. Because the book is always better than the movie or the TV show. So if you watch first, you might like both. But if you read first, you're probably only going to like one. So that's why I am like a watch first person.
Okay.
But you have bragging rights if you read first for sure.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. I haven't seen the show. I plan on watching it, but I can't say enough about that one. I think it's a really good one.
That sounds really good. Is it cheating if I put myself on the list? Probably.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
I won't tell.
So the book that I chose to talk about today is a book that I actually found out about via one of the American Library Association's award lists. It's an award list called the Alex Awards, and it's specifically done by ALA's group YALSA, which is Young Adult Services for Library People. Okay, I am now realizing I don't know what YALSA stands for, but I'm going to put that below, as well as a link to the Alex Awards. The Alex Awards are books that are written for adults, but have a lot of teen appeal. So this one is one that we have on Hoopla, so you can check it out right now. It was an Alex Award winner in 2010, and it is actually a comic. It's called Genderqueer, and the author is Maia Kobabe. And Maia, this is about air personal journey. Maia uses air pronouns. That's a gender neutral pronoun. A lot of people are used to hearing they, them for gender neutral folks, but this is another gender neutral option. And those are the ones that Maia uses. And so this is an autobiographical comic. It's about M coming to terms with their own gender, also figuring out what it means to be non-binary and asexual, to M, and also like kind of as it relates to our family. There's a lot of scenes of kind of coming out to family members, whether or not the family members are very supportive, but there's also sort of bonding with friends over fan fiction is like a side plot in this, which is something that I relate to pretty hard, talking about confusion of like crushes and coming out. So I think anyone who is like in the LGBTQ plus community, knows anyone who is, has friends who are non-binary, or just likes a really great autobiography, especially when it's told in graphic format, this one would be really good.
Sounds good.
You want to say where you can find it?
Yes. Oh my gosh, we're forgetting that today. Hoopla. So you can check it out as one of your 5. There's no waiting list on it. And I love reading comics on Hoopla. I think that Nicole has talked about this before because you can like zoom in and make different panels bigger and they kind of pop up. It's really cool. So the interface will be nice.
Action view.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think we also wanted to mention that sometimes Hoopla, the things on Hoopla disappear. So you want to check right away as soon as you can, because you can even mark it as your favorite. But Hoopla is very fluid with what's on there.
It is. Yeah. Overdrive, those are things that we at DeKalb like buy specifically for our patrons. Hoopla decides what those books are going to be. And a couple of weeks ago, I recommended a few things that were there when we were filming on Friday and weren't there when we posted the video on Wednesday. So I'm really sorry about that. I hope that this will still be there for you to read because it's a good one. Just know that we're doing our research now to find those books for you. They just might be a little bit different when this airs, and we're very sorry about that.
All right, I am going to talk about one of my favorite series, which is Flavia Duluth. And the first one is The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie. It's on Overdrive in both audio and ebook. I first listened to this book on audio, and the reader is amazing. And I wondered if I could transition to reading the rest of the series because it's a series, and the series was just as good me reading it. So I love the fact that I like both the audio and reading the book. There's about 10 in the series, so this one has about, I think, a 3 or 4 week wait, but several of the other books in the series you can check out now. And it's the main character is 11, and the author actually keeps her age throughout this whole 10 books. I think she's now 12, so she's only aged a year, so she sort of stays in that same age group. So I think it's a really great crossover read too, because the main character is so young, but there's a bunch of quirky characters. She's got 2 sisters who are teenagers. There's an inspector that she's, so basically I should tell you, Flavia wants to solve crimes. She's obsessed with death. She lives in this crazy house. She has her own laboratory.
I mean, same, right? Like,
Yeah. You have me at crime. I'm good.
yeah.
She is one of my favorite characters of all time. She thinks she's always helping the detective who, while she does help him, would prefer not to have her putting herself in danger, helping and solving crime. But it's just amazing. I love it. It's by Alan Bradley, and I highly, highly recommend it. And then even though Fran's going to yell at me, I'm going to do a quick plug for another crossover, which I do a teen book club at Decatur, and they picked this book, even though it's not in the YA section, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. And I loved this series. The main character, Vin, is a teenager. It's fantasy, which is my usual favorite. But this series was amazing. There is a long wait, but it's like Angela said, it's one of those ones that's totally worth the wait. Okay, I'm finally done.
Rule does not apply. But Brandon Sanderson, I haven't read that, but I love Skyward so much. And I have listened to almost all of those audiobooks. I love the audiobooks for the Flavia Duluth series as well. The reader's so good. And you can just like hear the joy in her voice every time she talks about poisons, especially. And it's just.
And the setting I forgot to mention is in, I think they're in London too. So the reader has this amazing accent. I love everything about the book.
And it's kind of like, is it just after World War II or the 50s?
Yeah, so
I want to say it's like.
So she's like a little Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of that witty, very witty, like you'll keep flipping back. It's like, oh my gosh, like this is coming together. And then there'll be stuff that I feel like I don't get. And then later in the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'll go back. So I love, it's sort of more than just the words on the page. It's got all these extra meanings. And I always learn a lot, like about like what the word for a stamp collector. Like I'm always like looking up words, and I'm like, these are great words.
I feel like too, if you really like Downton Abbey and you're interested in sort of like the rise and fall of people who owned large estates back in England, which is a thing that not many people own anymore. This was sort of in that period where, you know, all of a sudden, yeah, you have a title, but you can't pay for this falling down estate around you, and you don't have any money, and what do you do? That's like a really interesting plot with that as well.
Yeah, the house is almost its own character. And then there's also this guy that lives with them who's sort of has some, I guess, PTSD syndromes too. That's one of my favorite characters. There's just so many great characters. I could spend all 30 minutes talking about them.
I feel like I could too, and I was like, Mia, don't talk about 2 books. Now I'm like, but let's talk about this one a lot. Make it go super. I'm sorry. Like,
Okay, Nicole, cut them off.
Okay, I'm cutting you off. Okay, I'm rounding out my recommendations this week with a juvenile to a teen / YA series. And you've read the book, probably listened to the audiobook, probably watched the movie, but it's The Lightning Thief, the graphic novel by Riordan. And I just started the Percy Jackson series, and this graphic novel is such a great representation of like the book, because you know me, I listened to the audiobook, of course. So to see it on the page was amazing. And of all the days to choose this, Disney just announced their Disney Plus live action version of Percy Jackson is in production. So you can get this on Hoopla, you can get this on Libby / Overdrive. And again, it's The Lightning Thief, the graphic novel by Riordan.
So is the graphic novel better than the movie they came out? Because I didn't like the movie.
Anything is better than that movie.
It's like, I think most people would agree. Like,
yeah. I the movie was okay. It wasn't as good as the book, but I thought it was okay. I've seen some crappy remake movies, you know, books into movies, and that one, it wasn't the worst.
I think they didn't like that they like aged up the characters. It felt more like a teen movie than like a kid's movie. So I think probably Disney like learned from that, and they're not.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because he's 12. He's supposed to be 12.
Right.
Yeah.
Not an adult.
It's not 12.
They're like, let's just make Percy Jackson really hot and have lots of love interest.
That's not how that works.
See, this isn't Twilight. You don't. Not everything has to be Twilight. I feel like came out.
Point taken.
I will say, I feel like the Twilight movies were worse than the Lightning Thief movies. I did not like the movies, but I did like the series. I'm embarrassed to admit. I read the whole thing.
I read it. They came out when I was in high school. I read those like crazy.
And
I
then
did not read them.
Came out when you were in high school.
Sorry.
They did not come out when I was in high school either, but I read them all as they came out. Like, no Twilight shade. Especially like now there's more Twilight coming out now. The new the book that she wrote a long time ago that was the first Twilight book, but from Edward's point of view, is actually being published. I think it got leaked online and then she pulled it from publication and now it's back. I hope I'm remembering this correctly, but Midnight Sun, I think, is the title of it. So that's going to be published. We're getting more Twilight content.
I think Hunger Games too is coming out with like a prequel. I think this month.
Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes?
Yes. I think it is Songbirds. Yeah, that sounds right.
Another one that I love.
If we're wrong about any of this, I will put it down below. We have like our own little corrections corner. It is in the description. We do this. So
I feel upset that I didn't know what YALSA stood for when you first said it. I was like, I'm like, how do I not?
I'm really embarrassed. I would say that they would probably revoke my membership, except I paid for it. So they would have to give me my money back, and they're probably not down with that.
I like the fact that YALSA just sounds so good that you forget what it sounds like because you feel like that's just the name. YALSA. It doesn't even stand for something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Young Adult Library Service Association?
I think so.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
When I don't have
Sounds
the
right.
pressure on me, I can get it. But otherwise, I'm just like, young association for libraries servicing adults? No? I don't know. But no, I think that that's it again.
Yeah.
We'll correct below if I messed that up. So
And we love you, YALSA.
we love you, YALSA. I've taken some great YALSA webinars while we've been closed. I took one on like building a nonfiction collection a couple of days ago. That was A+, very good webinar. Speaking of YALSA, we'll also put the links.
7 minutes.
I'm sorry?
I think we did a great job keeping it under 7 minutes.
We sure did. I'm the one who's gonna have to caption this, so it's like my own fault that I just talked a bunch about Flavia Deleuze. Pick less great books and we won't have to talk about them. Like, if we just pick terrible things, we won't have feelings. That's not true.
Exactly.
That's not true.
We'll have feelings, all right.
We'll just be the other way. Okay, this has to end sometime, so we are going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week. Again, if there's any kind of specific recommendations that you'd like us to make, please leave those requests in the comments. We are very happy to take requests at this point, and at any point. So have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.